So I'm back with y'all now with a new profiling session. This time we are profiling a friend of mine actually. Her name is Kelsie. And in this profiling session, I'm gonna just go ahead and let y'all know like it does get a little bit more personal than the other profiling sessions or the previous profiling sessions that you may have seen on my channel. And you may also recognize Kelsie. She featured in one of Joyce's videos. She originally identified as an ENFP, and just like the rest of my profiling session videos, she may or may not be. That's up for you guys to watch and see if you can figure it out by the end. But pretty much, if you haven't seen these videos yet, if you're watching the premiere like live right now, then there's a chat on the side where people may or may not be discussing Kelsie's type. Kelsie should also be in the chat, and she won't tell you what type that she is, but this is to help you guys like practice understanding how the functions can come out and everything, and it's almost like a game. So by the end of the video, I will reveal what type I believe she is, and then there's going to be a part two where then I'm breaking down and explaining why I believe she is the type that she is. So as you guys watch, enjoy yourselves. Be easy, just be kind, just like hopefully you would with any of the other profiling sessions that I've done. And I hope that you guys enjoy and learn a lot from this because Kelsey's a very, very interesting person in my opinion, and I think it was pretty fun to also profile someone who, although I'm familiar with her, I had some ideas of what type she might be. This was still fun in itself to because I never got to actually ask all of these in-depth questions, and in fact I believe this is the first time that we spoke outside of text, face to face, on video chat. So yeah, this is a little bit different of a profiling session than my normal ones, but another flavor for you guys. So without further ado, y'all make sure that y'all watch, comment what types y'all might think that she is and why, and help calibrate your own profiling skills, and let me know what you guys think.
Okay, kiddo, go.
All right.
Back on your tablet.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Sorry. See?
Good. No, that's not a problem at all. And also, if anything, if it gets posted, then I could always edit parts like that out.
Okay.
But it's not really a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah, because that'll definitely happen. She'll ask a million questions. She's curious.
She's cute.
Thanks. Oh, shithead. Yeah, 5.
The first question that I'm going to ask you is, what is something that you love to do? And when I say that you love to do, I mean that you love to do so much that the only reason why you'd stop is because you're exhausted. Otherwise, you'd go on indefinitely.
Oh God. For some reason, I think my first thought came up to pole vaulting, which is that was my passion when I was younger. I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
But I stopped obviously because, well, I got pregnant with my daughter, and
makes sense.
Really, you can only do it in college and high school, so I couldn't really continue that. I mean, I guess I could try to find a club or something, but it's not a very common sport, I guess. So it's a little bit harder. As for normal life, I don't know. I really don't. I don't really do much with my life. I'm kind of boring, and I don't think I really love anything that much, which is kind of sad now that I'm thinking about it. But there's things I like to do. I don't think I have anything.
Really?
That's really depressing.
It's
I like to paint. I like, hanging out with friends. I like watching movies, but would I die if I'm not able to do those. No.
Okay.
Yeah, that's sad. Now I'm kind of like realizing that. Oh no.
I feel like you
That's a
probably still
hard
do.
question.
You just don't know it yet, but you probably still do. Like for example, I know that. Would you say that working out is one of them, or
I like it because I feel like I have to, like,
mm,
um, basically for my health wise, because the birth control I'm on, I have to work out basically, or else I can get a blood clot and die. Like, there's like a warning label on there, so I have to stay active. That, and I'm not very happy with my own body, even like now. So I feel like I have to try to like get better or maintain or like be stronger because I'm small. So people don't tend to like really take me seriously, or they think I'm like 12
mm,
kind of thing. Like I feel like I have to prove myself a little bit more. But
mm,
I think it mainly comes down to like, I don't like my body. So I'm trying to like keep it at a certain level, or um trying to get better, whatever better is.
interesting?
Because I've dealt with an eating disorder before where I I would go days without eating. I wouldn't eat anything. That also has to do with stress a lot too, though, because when I'm stressed, I just physically can't eat. I feel sick.
Mm,
So a lot of it was that, but yeah, I would go days not eating, and then I lost a lot of weight, and which was like helpful, but not the best way to do so.
mhm.
So yeah, working out helps me stay at the level that I kind of want to be at a little bit. So I feel like I kind of have to, or else I'll hate myself more, and then I'll get into a fit of depression again, and then hate myself even more, kind of thing.
Gotcha. So the
Yeah,
actual activity of working out, like that's not really as satisfying for you, as much as, or not even like it's not really satisfying for you, but the result of it is what keeps you going, and the necessity for it in your case, you'd say.
yeah,
Mm,
yeah. Basically that, and it like helps with my anxiety, and it makes me tired enough to be able to sleep
got-
well enough at night sometimes. So yeah, it's more of like a kind of need thing. Do I want to go do it? Heck no. I hate
mm,
forcing myself to go, but once I get there, like, yeah, I feel better after. I'm like, yeah, I did it. Like I feel accomplished. I like that sensation I get after it,
okay.
where I feel like I actually did something with my life.
Mhm, mhm.
Um, but this, yeah, actually wanting to go, no, I never want to go.
Interesting. Okay. That's, yeah, that's helpful. Okay.
But if it's like playing a sport or something, yeah, I loved doing that. But
Right, for sure.
yeah,
And I was gonna actually
actually,
ask, like, how did you, wait, no, you can go ahead first.
yeah, I was just gonna say, actually, working out is not a fun thing for me. So I was just repeating myself. Don't worry.
No, that's good. That repetition is good. Like you're really emphasizing that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because one of the questions I was gonna ask was, so if you had the, if you did not have to work out, would you still do it? And I'm guessing that you'd say no. So
Probably not.
okay. All right. Cool. Um, what got you into pole vaulting?
Oh gosh, it was random. So I had been in track for 3 years by that point. So I started track in 8th grade, and then I think it was my sophomore year they brought it along. I don't
Mm,
think they had it my freshman year.
okay.
But anyway, I saw all these, like a couple kids down at the end of the field, and they were doing pole vault, and I like looked at my coach and I was like, that looks like fun. Can I go try it? And he was incredible. His name is, well, we called him Coach Robinson.
Mhm.
And I was like, can I go try that? And he was all for like letting us, try new things and whatever. And the poor guy even let me try hurdles, and that was a nightmare. So I'm not good at that. But he's like, yeah, sure, go for it. And I was like, okay. So I went, and I forced my friend Sheena to go with me too. And she hated every minute of it, but I loved it. And I like, not to brag or like make myself sound like super great, but I like kicked ass at it.
Hurdles, so now you can counter that.
Yeah.
But you said that you were great at it?
Yeah, I ended up being pretty good at it, which
Wow.
was nice.
Yeah.
And that was the first time that I actually felt like I belonged somewhere.
Oh, wow.
Where like I had my thing, that was my thing. And not a lot of people in our school did it, so it was more of a rare sport. There was only like maybe when I first started, oh gosh, maybe like 3 girls and like 5 guys doing pole vault on our track team. And then towards the end, when I was like a senior, like it got more popular, so I was helping like train the other kids. And it was kind of nice to feel like a celebrity. Like towards my senior year, everyone would be like pointing at you and like looking, you're like, yeah, like I'm a fucking badass. But yeah, that was my thing. And my coach Unruh, was the pole vault coach. He is the one that basically was like, yeah, you should go to Ashford because they got pole vault. You should go. And I was like, I'm not going there. I'm going to like Las Vegas. I'm getting the heck out of Illinois. Like, goodbye. And Las Vegas didn't have pole vault, so I ended up going to Ashford, and they gave me a scholarship for it. So, and I continued it on to there. But yeah, I chose my major in biology, so that way, and minored in education, so I could be a physical therapist. And then the education portion would basically like guarantee me getting a coaching job with a school somewhere. Wow. So I could be a pole vault coach.
Wow.
But yeah, that didn't happen, so that's okay.
That's pretty dope though.
Yeah, I had these big dreams and big plans, and life had a different plan, so that's okay. That is what it is. But
okay, well, I guess speaking of friends, if I were to go to some of your friends and be like, hey, so I am profiling Kelsie. She can't hear you right now. What can y'all tell me about her? Whether it's, whether you believe that it's true or not, Kelsie. What do you think that they'd say?
I think it depends on maybe who you ask.
Yeah, definitely give me all the perspectives.
It's funny because in college we had to make t-shirts, and then you had to ask people like how they viewed you, and then write it on the t-shirt. And I remember like I got feisty, like strong, caring, nice, funny, all the like basic shit. But probably like the people that, I don't know, again, like it's different. If you were to ask Brooke and Morgan, they'd be like, she's feisty. Like I'm the asshole of the group, because they're so sweet, and so like they're more quiet, and they're so smart, and just all around great people. And then like there's me, and I remember some guy touched Morgan in the bar one time, and I hauled off and punched him. Like, I was like, you don't touch a girl you don't know. Like, I was pissed, but that's because like I felt like I had to protect her. She's my friend, and she wouldn't stick up for herself. Now if someone were to do that to me, like I wouldn't stick up for myself, kind of thing. I just don't. I kind of like back down a little bit more, unless I'm extremely mad and I take a lot, then I'll like stick up for myself. But it takes me a lot to get there, sometimes even like years or months of frustration just building up to get me to that point.
Really?
But if you were to ask if you were to ask my friend Heather, who's very much a mama bear, like I take the back seat, so she would probably see me as like not weak per se, but like she feels like she has to take care of me because I won't, quote unquote, stick up for myself. So yeah, it would depend on who you asked because I'm kind of different with everyone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I'm confusing. I know. I
No,
don't
I
make
love it.
sense.
I love it though. I love it though. Like
Ugh.
seriously, I'm not, I wouldn't say that I'm looking for, I'm not trying to box you per se. I'm trying to look at all
I'm
of
trying to box me. I want to box. I want to
Well,
know.
well, okay. If we are putting you in a box, which of course I guess technically would be one of the 16 types, then it's definitely going to be
Yeah.
one that fits everything that you're saying. So,
Yeah.
so far you haven't said something that has me like, oh, so, but all of it is just like fascinating. It's more just because like my preconceived notion with you is like, oh, I definitely would have suspected that someone who's known as like being like feisty in that way would also be quick to protect themselves. Like if somebody touches you, like I see you as somebody who snaps somebody's neck.
Yeah.
Like,
I think most of my friends would probably see me that way, but like I said, some of them won't. If they're stronger, if they have a stronger personality than I do,
mm,
um, I tend to take the back seat and I just like won't. Like
mm,
I'll stick up for myself if, like I said before, it gets to an extreme,
mm,
or maybe I've had a few drinks, um, where I stop giving a crap about people's feelings and shit like that. But yeah, no, I wouldn't stick up for myself, which is weird because I think when I was younger, I would be wanting to fight everyone. I wasn't nice in high school until probably about like my senior year. And I was like, you know what? I should probably start being a little bit nicer to people. But I think I was just pissed off at the world and I didn't have the best home life.
mm.
So I was more willing to like fight, especially like my mom and stuff. But she kind of taught me that I wasn't really allowed to have the last say in something. So she kind of like beat it out of me, like, so I fought for a really, really long time. And then I think as I've gotten older and other stuff has happened to me, I kind of just don't really care to stick up for myself because it's never really helped me in the end. It's always kind of made things worse. Maybe because I don't react properly. I don't know. But yeah, I don't care if I'll get in trouble for someone else. That's not a problem.
Mhm.
But for me, I don't know why. It's just how I am, I guess.
Got it. Okay.
I went off on a tangent. I don't even know if I answered your question.
No, actually, you answered one of the upcoming questions to an extent. So that was interesting. I was like, oh, let me go over there. I'm just actually filling in some of the stuff right there. So just give me a moment.
No, you're fine.
Yeah. Um, okay. Well, I'll backtrack a little bit, but we're gonna revisit that.
Okay,
I want to ask you,
sounds good.
so how would you describe yourself? Like,
Ooh,
yeah.
besides boring, I don't confused, um, reactive, emotionally reactive.
Okay.
Yes, which is like hard to swallow that one. Yeah, that is something I have like learned about myself in the last probably year or so.
Hmm.
Someone helped me realize that. And I was like, ah, shit. So, yep.
Would you say
Um,
the emotional reactive part of you is connected to that self-defense part of you as well, or they're two different things?
yeah, I think it would be connected. Like I said before, I think it kind of just depends on how much I've, taken, you know, I don't know how to explain that. I'm always bad with words, but you know that. Yeah, I think so.
Got it.
I don't know how else I would describe myself. I can be spontaneous. I like to take like random ass trips. Usually it's when I'm stressed though. So I feel like I need to run away and go somewhere else and get away for a while. It's confusing because I like that being spontaneous and everything, but I also like having like a list of like, okay, well, this is where we're going, this is what we're doing, and then we'll figure it out as we're going, kind of thing. That's what I like. So I like to have like bulletin points per se.
Gotcha.
What else? I like to be organized, but I'm not always. So like my space tends to be crazy throughout the day, but then at the end of the day, I want it all organized again. I don't really know.
That
I
was
like
a lot of good stuff though, for sure.
that's good. I don't know. I think this is really hard. Like, I don't know how to answer questions about myself or like describe myself because I don't feel like I know who the hell I am. I feel like I've been multiple people throughout my life, and I've changed so much.
I want to know about that journey. So that's like the next phase. Like I was gonna ask, like, so how was your childhood and upbringing? And you kind of already touched on that. But yeah, more meat that you wanted to like add into that, I'd definitely go ahead and take it.
From what I can remember, when I was I guess I'll explain it like this. When I was little, I thought my life was normal and great, like, because I didn't understand that how my life wasn't normal. So I remember being a kid and people being like, I remember like my friends' parents being like, oh, you can't hang out at Kelsie's house because her mom's an alcoholic and Kelsie's going to end up just like her. And I remember like random parents saying that, like, Kelsie's going to end up just like her mom. And I never understood what that meant. And I remember like my next door neighbor being like, oh, I can't like stay the night at your house because like your mom's an alcoholic and she drinks a lot and she gets drunk all the time. And I was like, my mom doesn't get drunk all the time. What are you talking about? Like, I did not understand that. I didn't know what that really meant. I think I knew like my mom drank beer, but I don't think I connected like, oh, drinking beer gets you drunk. And like, and then you start, acting a certain way and whatever. So I didn't get it until maybe I was about like 12. I kind of realized like things weren't like, that's not how they were supposed to be, because I started spending, well, it was probably because I was getting older and I started connecting dots, but I was always away from home at friends' houses, staying the night all the time. Even from a young age, I just was always out of the house. Very social, loved to be with other people. And I think it was because subconsciously maybe I was like, oh, this is like a normal life. I like that they eat dinner as a family, like together and stuff like that. But when I was 12, my mom went to prison for driving without a license and being intoxicated. She got caught twice in 1 week.
Dang.
Yeah. And this wasn't the first time that she went to prison. She went to prison when I was like really little and I had to like live with my Nana for a bit. But I don't really remember much of that, just like certain scenes in my head here and there of like my grandma trying to give me eye drops and stuff like that, or like watching Pokemon on TV, but my mom not being there and my grandma was. But yeah, when I was 12 and she went to prison again, she had to go away for like a year. Pretty sure it was a year. So Quentin and I had to move again. By this time, this is probably like maybe the 5th or 6th time we've moved in like 12 years.
Wow.
Don't quote me on that, but we moved a lot. Whether or not it was in the same town, like we sometimes would move to like different homes throughout the town. But like, yeah, we lived in Georgia and Arkansas. I was born in South Carolina, Illinois, Iowa, everywhere, like everywhere. And then within those states, we moved like to different towns. So, what else? Oh, so we went and moved out with my grandma and stayed there. And that's when I kind of really started connecting the dots and like, oh, this is what it is like, you know, living as a, you know, family with people who don't drink. Granted, my cousin lived there and she was kind of an alcoholic, but she like didn't have anything to do with like Quentin and I really. Like my grandma was the one raising us. So like we went out to school there and like I kind of just realized like, oh, this is what it's like to not grow up with an alcoholic raising you kind of thing. And we stayed out there with her for that year and then eventually came back. And I don't know why in my head, I was like, yeah, this is like great. Mom has been in prison for like a whole year. You know, she hasn't had alcohol. You know, I'm sure she's found something in there, you know. But yeah, mom hasn't had alcohol. Maybe this is like, you know, a different step in a different direction, whatever. And the very day she got out, the very first place she went to was a bar. So, and I just remember feeling like super like disappointed almost in her, like, wow, like that was the first place she went to. I mean, we weren't even back in Illinois yet. We were still out in Nevada, so I wouldn't have expected her to come see us right away. But still, like the first place you go to is a bar and get drunk. Like you went a whole year. Yeah.
She did definitely get drunk that day. She didn't just go and like, oh, I'm gonna just get, you know, a little tipsy. She got drunk.
No, yeah, like my mom's goal when drinking was to get drunk. It was never like one beer, you know, at lunch or, you know, like a beer at dinner or something. Like it was never like that. If she was drinking, she was drinking. There was no in between. Mm-hmm. And that, and like it was so taboo when we were younger. Like, and now that we're getting older, like weed isn't, you know, a huge thing anymore. But when I was younger, it was definitely illegal in Illinois. And so she was manic depressive, bipolar, had like really bad carpal tunnel. So she was in pain. Sorry, my timer's going on. Every time she smoked weed, she was a fucking normal person. Like you would not even know like she had all these issues. You could actually have a conversation with her without her getting pissed off. Like she was normal. And I loved that. It is illegal. So she couldn't. She did it anyway. But I do remember her going to jail for weed one time too. So when I was younger. But she, you know, didn't get to see the world as it is today, so which is unfortunate. But yeah, no, she went right to the bar and got drunk and we moved back to Illinois and I started 8th grade. So I was like 14. And that's when she like, I think started, at least from what I know or how I started paying attention or something, or maybe she did start getting worse at this point. She wouldn't come home. Like Quentin was my brother, my little brother. So if I was in 8th grade, he was 6th grade. So like I would have to take care of him because mom wouldn't come home. She'd be out with a boyfriend somewhere, out at the bar, drinking, like come home drunk, whatever. And it just started getting worse. And we moved from that house to another house and then another house and then another house. And then in this tiny ass little apartment above a subway in this like town that has 1,000 fucking people. And that's where I last lived with her. And I think I was like 17 when she started throwing up like blood and this like black, like tarish crap. And I was like, you've got to stop drinking. Like, your liver, from what the doctors say, is at like stage 4. Like, you're going to die if you keep this shit up. So again, I had this hope, like, okay, this is a sign, like, this is your fucking wake up call. Stop drinking. No, she didn't stop drinking. Like, she just, every time she drank, she got abusive. Like, I remember when I was younger, like 7, I went on a bike ride with a friend who said that their mom said it was okay for us to go, and apparently it wasn't. So when I got home, I got beat with a fucking stick. Like, and I remember having like bruises and like welts on my legs and like my butt and stuff. And yeah, she like bit me one time, and like I had a bruise from that when I was younger. But by this point, when I was 17, she'd still try to like, maybe this is where it like, yeah, maybe this is where it comes from, why I don't stick up for myself. I don't know. But she would still try to like hit me and like come at me, and I could never bring myself to like hit her back. You know, like most people would be like, oh, you're like beating the shit out of me, I'm gonna like fight you. But I couldn't do it. I couldn't fight her back. All I could do was like just either take it and just let her do her thing, or like try to hold her down. And I did that a couple times, and even like restraining her was really awkward and weird for me.
Wow.
I don't know why. Like, it's weird. I don't know. It was just really awkward to like try to restrain her and be like, you're a grown ass woman. You're like 40 something years old. Like, you're having a tantrum and your 17-year-old daughter has to like restrain you. This is not how it should be, kind of thing. Yeah. And so I think it was like 2 weeks before Christmas, she kicked me out when I was 17. So 2 weeks before Christmas is when she kicked me out. I went and lived with a friend's parents. That was a whole experience. That's kind of where I started to hate religion, because at that point I like believed in God and stuff like that. And was like, but I didn't go to church, but I still was like, you know, I grew up going to church and stuff, and like all the church camps and Christian camps and whatever. And I think it was around that time that I really started hating it, because their family was super, super religious, and I was expected to go to church every single Sunday. And I remember them telling me, like, I was like, well, I'm not really sure, like, if I believe or not. And like, I'm still trying to like find my way back to this, because at this point I'd gone through so much shit that, like, you know, like, it's almost hard to believe in like a God kind of thing, and like, where the fuck is he kind of mentality. And they're like, well, you're gonna go to hell, like if you die tonight you're going to hell because you don't believe. Like, and I'm like, but I don't know. Like, so I felt panicked, like I was stuck, like I don't know if I need to believe, or maybe I should believe, or like, but I'm gonna go to hell if I die tonight or something. And like, that just like made me hate it. And shit happened there that's not even like really relevant. But I ended up moving out of there and moving in with a boyfriend and his parents over in Iowa. And I started my senior year of high school there, under the status of homeless, because I was not yet 18, almost 18, because school starts in August. My birthday's September 3rd. So I was almost 18. So I couldn't necessarily sign myself up for school, but if I was under the status of homeless, I could. So I did that, went to school there, was my own guardian.
Wow. Almost 18 and already
almost. Yeah. But I mean, I was living with my boyfriend and his parents, so it's like I became part of their family, which they were something. Yeah. And they weren't like abusive or mean to me or anything. It was just toxic relationship kind of thing. Like, their family is a little odd and they're hoarders. And so like when I first moved in, like we had to clear out a whole bedroom full of like shit for me. And then my room was basically the only room that was clean ever. And so the rest of the house, like I never really went to.
Mhm.
And my mom was a neat freak. So I think she kind of instilled that into me a little bit. Yeah. And then that same school is where I met my daughter's father, who was the best friend to my boyfriend at that time. So it was us three all the time. Chris started doing other who's my boyfriend. He started doing shit that Dominic and I didn't really agree on. Dominic and I became better friends, and then that's how that whole story came. But yeah, like I didn't have a great relationship with my mom. When I moved away, I didn't talk to her for a year. Even when I moved from Comanche, Iowa, my senior year, to Erie, Illinois, I had 3 months left of my senior year. I moved to a different high school to get away due to the toxic relationship and shit. But I didn't even tell my mom I left. I wasn't going to invite her to my graduation. I wasn't going to let her know. I was just going to disappear off the face of the earth and bye.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. We didn't have the most stable mother, I guess. I mean, I had my Nana my whole life. I don't think my brother and I would be where we are without her. She kind of like paid for everything and made sure we had a place to live and sent us clothes during the winter and my mom money to use on us, whether or not she did that. But I think my mom always liked my brother more than me. And I know every like sibling says that, like, oh, there's always a favorite, but I do think my little brother was the favorite because he had a dad in the picture. We have different fathers.
Okay.
And so mom got money, child support from his dad, but nothing from mine. Like mine took off when I was like 3 months old, like gone.
Wow.
So like I've never met him. I've talked to him on the phone like once, and then I got my brothers and sisters' names from him, and then I never talked to him again. I talked to my siblings, like my older siblings now. They, like my sister, I mentioned to you before, she lives in Georgia, and like my brothers live in Maine. And I met my sister once in Chicago when she was working an event, and that was pretty cool. But yeah, I think she kind of liked him more, because I remember getting my first ever detention at the end of my junior year for having like 5 tardies throughout the entire year. And so then you get a detention at the end, like whatever, stupid. Yeah. I was like, okay. I got grounded for 2 weeks. I got everything taken away.
Wow.
Could not do shit. And my brother vandalized a home, caused over like $25,000 worth of damage, him and his little friend. They were in 6th grade when this happens. He got his ass beat for like 5 minutes and then done. Like that was it.
Wow.
Yeah. He's a better person now. He's much more structured, but he was probably 11-year-old kid and doing stupid shit, and it wasn't like a home that someone lived in. It was like an abandoned trailer or something. But yeah, they broke in and smashed up the toilets and the counters and just for fun, being stupid kids. And yeah.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, you've clearly been through hell. Like in every sense.
I got stories for days.
I believe that. Like, yeah, like, because I mean, obviously this isn't our first time speaking, so it's like, okay,
right.
You gist of certain things, but listening right now, especially in real time, like not just like a voice text on Telegram or reading a text, but like hearing you like say things and in a cohesive manner, it's just like, this is just wild.
Oh, thanks for that compliment. I like that, because I never think I'm like cohesive.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, no. I feel like I'm spiraling and like you know that picture of that meme of that guy that's like pointing at the board and there's like
Oh, yeah.
lines everywhere? I
Yeah.
feel like that's me all the time.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe because I deal with a whole bunch of other different types of people. There's a lot of different people that actually seem that way with me, and it's very hard for me to follow. But at least
Yeah.
like when I'm talking to you, at least so far,
So far.
everything seems to track like very well. Like, and I feel like there's a difference between like, I guess like I don't even know the term. Like there's two different types of rabbit trails, I guess. Like there's a rabbit trail that I'm like, wait, where did that come from? Where did that come from? And then there's one where it's,
Yeah.
oh, the floor beneath us is just continues to like cave in. And I feel like you're more of like the caving in type of floor person. And at least so far, that's what I've been gathering.
Yeah.
So it's cohesive and it seems like very direct, and it's all like as I'm writing the notes down, like I don't have to like flip back and forth and add it in different sections and stuff. It's like all wow, like cleanly organized, I guess. So
Yeah. Well, that's good.
yeah, for
That makes
sure.
me feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mom and I weren't good up until like, oh God, until Leia was born is when our relationships kind of started getting better. And even then we only had 6 months. And then 6 months later, she killed herself. So it was like, we didn't really get to mend that.
I didn't. That's what she did. She committed suicide.
Yeah, she drank herself to death.
Intentionally?
Yep. The guy she was seeing at the time left her for another woman. So she went on a 2-week drinking binge, basically put herself in a coma. There was so much like ammonia in her body, her brain shut off. She went into a coma. If I'm remembering correctly, unless what I was told was wrong, I don't know. But she may or may not have been in the hospital for at least a week before anyone told me.
Wow.
And then we went in on I believe it was a Saturday. So March 16th, she was still alive. She was out. Went in, was like, okay, well, we've been here before. Like, this isn't the freaking first time. Like, I'm gonna come out of it. It is what it is. Like, I stayed for maybe 10 minutes. Was like, okay, well, here's a picture of Leia. Like, love you, Mom. Okay, like, see you when you wake up. The doctor kind of talked to us. Was like, yeah, she might wake up in another month or so. And yeah, she died the next day. But I had to be the one to authorize that. So I had to be the one to determine whether or not I wanted to do DNR. So.
Wow.
Yeah, that was fun.
Okay, well, just right before we move on, because like, I just have to say, like, I really, really admire you. Like a lot.
Thanks.
Like, I admire how strong you've been through all of what you went through, and yet still the vibe that I always get from you at least is that you continue to keep your mind the best that you can in a positive frame, and that you continue to move through life not like in a mood of like hatred toward everybody and being a result of what you've been through, but you actually allow yourself to like be open to like other people to at least a certain extent. And you're such a great mom, from what I've been seeing. And so it's just like, yeah, good news is, as far as I can tell, you actually seem like the pretty much exact opposite of your mother. So,
yeah, which is, I'm supposed to be a statistic,
right.
Be like her, but you either like follow along or you take that person as an example and do the opposite. And I try all the time to be completely different. That's not to say like my mom didn't have her good qualities. She was a good mom as far as I'm aware when I was younger. Like we had food, we were never starving, like we always had a clean house, like we always had clothes. So there's kids that are worse off, so I can't say like, oh, my childhood was so horrible, but like, yeah, it was shit, but I wasn't like, you know, starving to death or didn't have clean clothes and, you know,
That's
stuff
it.
like that.
You weren't a child called it, pretty much.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Uh,
That
okay.
was rough. That book's rough.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Man.
read that book while I was like I think I was 12
Mm.
when I was still living with her, and I'm gonna get my other AirPod. And I remember like coming out of my room after reading it and be like feeling really awkward around my mom. Like, and I was like, oh, this is like, I don't know if I was waiting for something, but I just always remember that feeling of being like, this is weird.
I feel that. Okay. All right. Well, next question I wanted to ask you is, how would you describe your relationship with your emotions?
Oh God, chaotic. Sorry, not work thing. Yeah, my emotions, yeah, relationship with them, chaotic. I don't trust them. Oh, I think I've mentioned to you before, I feel like I am two different people because like my head's saying one thing, like this is the more logical like situation, like this is how you should handle things, but my heart says one thing, so which one do you listen to? Because like both can be deceiving.
In what ways?
And oh God. So like I think sometimes like my brain is over analyzing everything, like we'll nitpick every situation and be like, this is what's happening and you need to be smarter about the situation. But then like sometimes your heart is, you know, the better answer, you know, like, or like how you're feeling is the way you're supposed to go because your feelings might be more accurate because maybe your brain is overthinking. You know what I mean? So I never quite know like which one to follow, which one to think about. The only thing that's really helped me is realizing that I'm reactive. And so when I start feeling a certain way, I'll be like, okay, I need to step back, not respond, excuse me, not say anything. Don't like say what you're feeling right now because it might not be the nicest thing to say, even though it probably is accurate. But we need to think about it for a little bit. And that I think that's helped me a lot, but it also makes me feel completely insane. Like that I don't know. I start overthinking everything like, okay, well, you know what? Like if we react this way and we say this and this, this, and this are going to happen, or we can say this and this, this, and this might happen, or we can go with option C and nothing will happen because we're not going to do shit. We're not going to say anything. We're not going to do whatever. And that's usually the route I take until I get pissed off and choose A or B. And which sometimes doesn't always work. And sometimes those options are hard. And so then I don't want to choose those because those tend to either leave someone else hurt or me hurt. And I don't like feeling bad emotions. So
Got you.
I try to avoid all them. I think like this whole whatever, it doesn't matter, rape case and shit. Like all my friends pushing me like, yeah, you should go for it. You should go for it. You need to do this. You need to do this. And I'm like, I don't want to because yes, I know that that is probably the smartest option and the most logical option. And I would tell my friends like, yeah, no, we're going after this son of a bitch. But for me, I don't want to feel that. Like, I don't want to go through those like bad emotions. I want to, if I have the option to not feel like shit, that's the one I want to choose.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I even have to avoid music sometimes because music will alter my mood. I'll be in a fucking fine ass mood and like dancing, whatever, and like some random song comes on, it sounds just a little bit sad, and I start thinking about all the sad things and like all the shit things, and then there goes my mood, and it's so hard to come back from that.
And you would count anger also as a bad emotion?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I do not like being angry.
Gotcha.
Sometimes I feel very empowered when I'm angry, so it's not always bad if I can channel it right or just have the right amount of it.
Yeah.
But I tend to not gauge that very well, so I try to avoid it.
Okay. I was about to ask about something. Oh yeah. So you say that you are reactive, but you also talked about how you're like, okay, well, if I do this, then this is gonna happen. If I do this, this is gonna happen. And even when you get mad, you still have that, okay, well, I'm gonna either go with A or B. How would you explain that? Like, at least like when I think of somebody who's reactive, I think of someone who low-key just like blacks out, and they didn't even think about A, B, C, D, whatever. They just do. Are you saying that when you like your idea of like reactiveness is that you have less patience to go through those options, but you're still thinking about those options, or you actually black out and you just don't actually really consider those options?
I think when I was younger, actually probably up until maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, I don't know, a year ago, we'll go with that. I wouldn't have thought about it. I think you're right with the first point. Like, that was always like, okay, these are your options, but I don't give a fuck. Like, this is how I'm feeling, this is what I'm going with, and react, and it's emotional, and say all the things I want to say and not give a shit. But again, that took me a while to get to that point. But now that I've like learned that I'm like this, I'm kind of starting to step back a little bit more and keep my mouth shut, tongue in cheek, and think all these things that I want to say, and like, okay, well, this is how we can go, and this will go this way, and that'll go that way. And I'm kind of care a little bit more about that. I don't know. That's such a hard thing for me, because I think naturally I just want to snap. And I think maybe I might have been like that a little bit more when I was younger, but yeah, again, as I've gotten older, I've realized like that's not always beneficial to me. And now that I have Alea, like I kind of have to be a little bit smarter about things. Like I can't just, can't go punching some random dude in the bar, Kelsie. So kind of thing. Or it just tends to make my situation worse. And then I always end up regretting it. And that's one of the things I struggle with the most is regret. Regret is my biggest thing I struggle with.
Interesting. So you feel like because of your emotional reactiveness, you actually do a lot of impulsive things that cause you to have regret, or you've done a lot of things that you regretted, and so now you try to make sure that you don't regret because of how often you've regretted things in the past?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Got it.
100%. You put it in words. Yes.
Got it.
I'm scared of regret. Yeah, I think that's why I'm scared of those emotions.
Gotcha.
Shit, that just came to me. So like, I'm learning this as you are, I guess. But
that's awesome. Like that definitely helps a lot too. Okay, so just so I'm making sure that I'm covering all bases in this area, just a quick question. What would you say then? Head over heart or heart over head?
For who I am?
Yeah.
It's probably 100% heart over head. 100%.
Yeah, I figured so, but
which I wish I was the opposite. I wish every day I was the opposite. But that's just not who I am. And I think that's why I struggle with like feeling like two different people too, because I'm like, I want to be this way, but I'm not. And I hate that. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it so much. Like, if I could change who I am, 100% I would, but I can't. So
100%? Come on.
100%.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so clearly you're exaggerating a little bit. I don't believe you.
No, I would 100%.
I'm writing that
I wouldn't change
on a different piece of paper, and we'll talk about that in our personal conversations. But no.
Mind you, like, I wouldn't change 100%. Would I change me? Yes. Would I change 100% about me? No, maybe 90. But yes, I would definitely 100% change something. Multiple things.
100%. Okay.
Yes.
That's different.
Yes.
That's different. I was like,
I would change something about me.
A 100% different person. That's a little bit strange. But if you're like, okay, no, I'd 100% change certain things about me. Okay.
90% of me. Yes.
No.
Yes.
You're not keeping 10% of it's 10% of who you are is not the only part of you that is great.
Oh, I don't think that's true.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna talk about this in our in our personal conversations, but
I feel like I'm getting in trouble now.
There you are.
I'm just kidding. Oh, you are. Kelsie. Yeah, you are.
I'm gonna nail it into your head. But okay, got you. Well, maybe I should say heart. Clearly, you're not tapped into your head. No, I'm kidding. But okay. And would you say that, I feel like I already know the answer to this, but again, just to cover bases, would you say that you're more in tune with your emotions or you're more in tune with other people's emotions? / which one is most directly noticeable to you?
Shit, I don't know. I don't think I have a handle on either. I think maybe because I feel chaotic with my emotions and that I don't trust them. But probably more so with myself. I can feel other people's emotions, no problem. Like if I walk in a room and someone's pissed and they're not saying anything, like, you can.
Yeah.
I like to think I can read a room pretty well, or a person, if I know them, yeah, I can usually sense other people's emotions, and it affects me a lot. Like if someone's mad, they don't even have to be mad at me, but I instantly feel like I'm in trouble. Like I did something wrong. Or like if someone is pissed off and they like start hitting something and they're just pissed off about like some object not working and they get mad, I'm instantly like, I shut down and I'm like, I don't want to be here. Like I feel all this rage and like I don't want it directed towards me. So I think that, that's probably why I don't like it, because I think eventually it's going to come be directed towards me, and that might have to do something with my mom.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking too.
I just figured that out. So.
Wow.
I never understood why I get like that. Like I instantly start not feeling great, and I'm like, oh God.
Yeah, that's exactly what I started to think. That makes a lot of sense right there. Okay. Got you.
But I always think it's my fault somehow. Logically, I know that's not true. And so I'll say that in a conversation and be like, I know you're not like mad at me, but like, are you mad at me? Like, I know this isn't about me, but it's something I've had to work on, was like not trying to take everything personally when it comes to anger or like someone being sad.
Gotcha.
Mainly anger though.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. We're gonna go to an older question that I just wanted to fillet out and complete. Where's that? Oh, there it is. So back to talking about your relationship with your body. How would you describe that? Like, I know that you were really into sports and stuff like that. But would you say that you're really in tune with what's going on like around you? Like you're usually like in the moment and like aware. Like if somebody, even for example, like discreetly scratches their balls or something, like you catch stuff like that, or you like off in
Um,
the land kind of thing.
I want to say I am, but I probably am not. I think I am if it comes to like just me. It's so, I don't know. That's such a hard question for me because I think it always depends on like my mood again. Like if I am upset, like I don't notice shit. Like I won't. I'm in my world and I'm the only one that matters. And like, I don't give a fuck what's going on around me.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm like, fine, I'm happy, I'm content. Like, yeah, I'm a little bit more aware of my surroundings. Like, I can be in the moment. If I have other issues going on in my life and say, like, I'm at Disney World, like, and I know there's some other issue going on in my life, like, I have to sit there and remind myself, like, no, we're not thinking about that right now. We're in Disney World. Like, this is exciting. This is fun. So we're going to focus on that. And then I usually can.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a forced thing I have to do.
Yeah.
And again, it's not always. Sometimes I'm very observant, but I think it's probably not as much as like some people. I don't know. It's really hard for me to, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's the one question I struggle with the most because I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay. I feel that. What's your relationship with adrenaline?
That's funny because when I was younger, high school or no, college wise, actually, I would be described as an adrenaline junkie.
Oh.
Yeah, that is what I loved. I lived for that. I think that's why I loved pole vault so much because, and everyone watching you and you're the center of attention and like, yeah, people think I'm a badass and like you're throwing yourself up 12 feet in the air and that's quite a thing.
Yeah.
Not to the extent that I would jump out of a fucking plane. I would never do that.
Okay.
But like, yeah, when I was younger, yes. Now, so yeah, maybe a little bit, not nearly as much as what I was when I was younger. I love excitement. I love things that like make me happy. I love like being like, yes, can go. Like, I
Okay.
love that.
Yeah.
That is like what fuels me. But I don't think I really get to experience that much anymore. So
how does that make you feel?
kind of fucking sad, really. Like, I feel like my life is so boring. My life is so boring. And I think it really depresses me because I'm not constantly doing something. Like, if I don't have a plan, like something to look forward to, and it could even be like, oh, like in 2 weeks, I'm going to go stay at a friend's house. Like, that's exciting for me. I have something to look forward to. If I have nothing, I feel worthless and so depressed.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, that was a lot of good stuff. So I'm just writing down some things verbatim.
You're fine. I have to like respond to this real quick. Sorry, I'm working currently too, so it's all right.
No problem. Okay. How do you feel about brainstorming, in the sense that if there is a room of people, like, are you more of the person who is throwing out a whole bunch of ideas, even as like other people are throwing ideas and you're getting excited about that? Or does that overwhelm you? Or does that not necessarily overwhelm you, but you're kind of like hanging back and you're like, oh, I'll take that idea. That one's not a good one. And you're not really adding on to it, but you're kind of like seeing which one is most usable.
I think I've been all three in my life, to be honest. Now, so like currently, I will hang back. It depends on the people I'm with.
Okay.
It really does. Like if I think they're more capable and competent than me, then I'm gonna let them do it. And I would feel almost stupid if I even tried to give my opinion about something or like my idea, because I feel like people would look at me and be like, "Wow, you're fucking dumb." Like, if I feel like they're more intelligent, I probably won't say anything.
Interesting.
But if I'm like confident in my like my idea, then yeah, I'll definitely like pitch in and say something. But I don't tend to be very confident in my ideas, so I just don't.
I see. And from how you're speaking, just to make sure, so is it usually like just an idea, or is it like you're not, are you saying you're not very comfortable with like throwing several ideas out there that might not work? You're like usually waiting for one kind of like good idea before you.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Usually.
Gotcha.
I'll throw it out there. And then like once I do, I expect it to be done. Like I want it to happen. And if it doesn't, then I get really kind of depressed about it and like kind of pissy about it.
Gotcha.
I don't mind like throwing little ideas out here and there if it needs to happen. Like and again, like I said, it kind of depends on who I'm with. Like if I click well with those people, like I don't mind sharing my ideas. It depends on if I'm comfortable with them. Most of the time I'm the other way though. Like I'll hang on to something, I'll think about it until I think it's good enough, and then I'll give said idea.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay.
Awesome.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're good. No problem.
He's like, I need your help. And I was like, this is going to be easier to explain over the phone. I can't like, normally I can like work and like still talk on the phone and like do stuff because it's all like brain dead shit. But like, that was just easier to explain on the phone.
It's all good. You're
so sorry.
When people come after you, I understand.
Yeah.
My next question for you actually was, what's your there's a specific word. What's your bandwidth for abstract, conceptual, philosophical conversations?
Depends on the conversation. It depends on if I like it.
Okay. So what is some that you like and some that you dislike?
I don't really know. Maybe I've never even been part of those conversations. Like, I don't know, like say, give me an example. I don't know. Shit, I don't know.
What if I started talking to you right now about the interpretation of dreams and what they
Oh, that'd be exciting. Yeah, I'd like that. Yeah, because it's something that fascinates me. I'd probably be good for a few hours.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. But like if it's about like astrology or some shit, I'm gonna lose like interest pretty quickly. Like it's interesting to me, but I don't have that much fascination with it. So I mean, I'll use like, I'm not gonna say their name, but there's a friend I'm close to that is like all into a bunch of shit that I'm not into. And so it's really hard for me to like be like, oh yeah, like get as excited as her because I don't really care as much, but it's so draining because she's one of those people that looks for a reaction. And so I feel like I have to like put on a performance, which is so draining because I don't care. Like But I don't want to be a jerk.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I feel you. I really do hate that. Like, and I try myself not to be that kind of person to people. Like I know like type, so it's like I know like, oh, ENFJ, like people think that that's I guess like kind of like how we are, where it's like
Yeah.
we're like looking for reaction all the time. And there actually probably are a lot of ENFJ that are like that, but I know for me, that's just not a thing. Like I'm not
Right.
for a reaction. I like certain reactions for sure, but I want everybody to respond naturally without like a kind of like pressure, whether it's implied or um explicit from me. So just yeah, nah. Um,
Yeah.
but okay. Uh okay, so you said, all right, what would be the difference then between, like the dream interpretations versus astrology and stuff like that?
I think, I don't know, like why it amuses me more than the other.
Yeah, and why you could spend like longer with that than the other. Is it because astrology seems like more complicated, or is it like literally like no, it's
That's probably it.
yeah.
Yeah. There's just so much going on, and I start to like lose interest. Like,
Mm,
it's hard for me. Like, if I don't pick up on it quickly, I kind of lose interest in it, and then I don't really care anymore.
ah,
Like,
okay,
though it still might be interesting to me. Like, it's not that I don't like it. It's just like my brain feels like goo because I'm trying to understand and I don't quite get it. So then I just shut off.
got it.
Yeah. And
Okay.
then I get tired, like almost physically tired because my brain is tired. And then I'd rather do something else.
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, cool, 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 cool. So you don't think that the dream interpreting would do that too, though?
I mean, if it becomes very mundane and the same thing said over and over and over again, probably.
I
But
feel
like at the beginning, yeah, like I even have books on that stuff. Like I love like trying to figure out what like my dreams mean or whatever.
yeah.
Um,
You've read
but like, hmm?
read through the books and everything.
Yeah, I only have like one book, but yeah, no, it was always, and I've like read stuff on, like I've got stuff from the library. I don't actually like own everything. I only own one.
Mhm.
But like stuff online or whatever, it's always like kind of fun to like figure out what it could potentially mean.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Sometimes it's not always so serious.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
a time and place for it.
Uh-huh. Gotcha.
I
Okay.
think like the astrology thing, like my sister loves that. She's way into it.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh yeah, like it's interesting. I love like, because it's kind of like, your personality, like why you are the way you are. And like, obviously I'm here, so I like this kind of thing.
Right.
However, none of that shit sounds like me. So like, and then she like has all these charts and stuff. And I'm like, okay, you lost me. I just want to know like why I am the way I am. I don't
Gotcha.
need to know all the directions and whatever. I don't know what that means. So
If
yeah,
it did sound like you feel like you would have actually put the time in to like learn about it, or
yeah, yeah,
okay, got it.
probably.
Okay.
Maybe I'm self-centered. Maybe it has nothing to do with me, and then I don't want to listen to it. So
Well, no,
what?
because I mean, I guess that makes sense. Like if it doesn't really have to do with you or it doesn't sound like what you feel like resonates with you, then you're gonna be inclined to think, well, then why would I waste my time on something that's not really accurate, right?
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it. That could be it.
that makes sense to me. Whereas like with the dream interpreting, you like you said, like it's not it doesn't always have to be like serious. Like it's just kind of like, oh, what could this mean? Is that right?
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha, gotcha. Um,
because I don't really tend to take my dreams very seriously.
mhm.
So it's a little bit more like fun to like, oh, like maybe it could mean this, and like sometimes it does like go along with things that are going in my life. I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like,
Mhm.
but it's always like see, I come to the point where I'm like, oh, well, I dreamed about this. Well, yeah, Kelsie, it's because you were talking about this, this, and this earlier in the day. Of course you dreamed about it. Or like, you watched this on TV. Yeah, of course you dreamed about that. It's not a freaking sign kind of thing. But it's like fun to like make it seem like it is in a way.
Gotcha. Okay. That's good to know. What would you say was the last conversation that you found yourself lost in?
Probably like 2 minutes ago when you asked me about a philosophical question. I get confused a lot in type too. Like sometimes you guys will be like saying something on Twitter or whatever, and I'm like, I have no idea what any of that means. Like I'm gonna have to Google it because I'm not, this is just kind of like a hobby thing for me. I've been learning it on my own, so it's not like something I've studied. Work stuff, a lot of work stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll start reading an email and I'm like, I don't care, and then I'll just read it. Like, I don't know what that means, so I'm gonna file it away. If I need it later, I'll find it.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I don't know if that has anything to like do with ADD or something, but like I'll lose interest and I'm like, okay, well, if I need it later, I'll find it. It doesn't matter right now.
Yeah.
If they're not like, hey, Kelsie, do this, then I'm like, okay, well, you're not talking to me, so I don't need you. Like,
so would you describe yourself as someone like who tends to lose interest in things often, like quite easily?
Say that beginning part.
Like, would you describe yourself as someone who like tends to lose interest in things a little bit easily? Or,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I find like I'll find my way back to certain things sometimes. Like I'll kind of lose interest for a while and then I'll go do something else and then I'll come back because I still like them. I just lose interest for a bit. Or, life, obviously, like life happens. I get too stressed and I don't want to do anything. So it really just depends on that.
For sure. Would you say that you have quote unquote strong moral values and ethics?
I think so.
Okay.
I like to think I would. Do I always listen to my own? Probably not. I find as I'm always like kind of scared to be like, I will never do that. About not like super serious stuff, like, like whatever, but like I will never get a tattoo. I got a tattoo. I got 2 of them. So like stuff like that. That's not like a moral thing, though, but I'm always kind of like scared to be like, I will never do this because like there's always a possibility I very like much could do that. Where it comes to like where I think something is right or wrong, then no, I won't waver in that. Like I'll listen to other people's opinions, but it won't always like sway me.
Gotcha.
I don't know.
Okay.
I think as long as like it's, what a decent human being would do, I feel like my morals are set on that side. But and I don't feel like I would waver from them, but you never know. I might go lose my mind one day and murder someone. I don't know. I wouldn't really, but
same time. I'd come in bed. No problem.
Thanks.
Her mom made her do it, guys. You have to. It's not her fault.
Yeah, it's not her fault. I promise you. I drove her to do it.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm always willing to listen, to like have my mind changed, but only if it's for.
How would you describe your relationship with the past?
Not great.
Not great. Oh, well, okay, in one way. Like, I know, like, you didn't have a good past, but, like, would you say that it's, like, do you think often about your past? Or, like, what do you think more about, past, present, or future?
I'm thinking more along the lines of not having a good relationship with my past because it's very hard for me to let go of things and say bye. Saying goodbye is very hard. And so when I think of past, I think of saying goodbye. and that's very hard for me. So I don't think I have a very good relationship with it, good or bad. Like, I don't like to say goodbye to the good things, and and it's like, of course I'm happy to say goodbye to like the bad things, but like obviously the bad things stick with you.
Wow. Yeah.
So I don't know if that's the answer you're looking for, but that's kind of how I interpreted it.
Yeah.
So
I like knowing how you interpreted things. Okay. And
I'm not the smartest. Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I don't know the question.
no, it's all good. I think that you're doing great. I think I have like just probably two more questions. I'm circling the drain. So you already talked about like organization. Like you, from what I got from what you said, you pretty much said that you are organized. It's just that throughout the day you're kind of like not, or like how is that like for you?
Oh yeah, if you saw my desk right now, it's a freaking disaster.
Mm.
Like, I have papers everywhere. I've got like a drink here, a scrunchie here, two pairs of glasses. Why? I don't know. Like random ass toys, but that's because my kid. Like, no, it's chaotic. But at the end of the day, I like to make sure it's like all back in its place and all neatly organized, so I can start fresh the next day. My kid's been home, so my living room is kind of crazy right now. It's stressing me out. I want it to be clean. Do I want to clean it? No, I don't want to be the one to do it. But I like, yeah, I like things being neatly organized. Am I always the one to do it? No. Do I want to be the one to do it? No. But I find I'm in a better mood when my house is clean. I don't make my bed every day, but I'm happy when it is. Like,
Gotcha.
So I kind of self-sabotage myself there. But yeah, no.
So
I want to be.
Clutter bothers you, but you don't.
Clutter bothers me.
So
Yes.
Gotcha.
I don't think it did so much when I was little, but now that I've gotten older, I'm like, oh my God, I'm my mom. Like, because she was the same way too. She constantly was cleaning. I remember her being up to like 3 a.m. rearranging the living room for the third time that month. That might have been a manic thing though, but you know, whatever. She'd like clean, and then the next morning your whole living room looks different.
Okay.
Not to that extreme though, so.
For sure. No, I get that. Yeah, this last part.
It's weird because it's like I want it to be that way, but it's not. My house is lived in. That's why I always say, I'm like, it's not dirty. It's a little messy throughout the day, but it's not dirty. And there's a difference. It's a little chaotic, but it's lived in.
For sure. All right. I think my last question for you right now is, what would you say is the biggest lesson you had to learn the hard way?
Oh, fuck. That's a hard one. That is really hard. I don't know. I think I would have to think about that for a while. Other than me knowing about myself that I tend to have to learn for myself.
You have to learn for yourself. Yeah.
I have to learn for myself. Everyone around me can tell me a million times. And even I know that I shouldn't be doing this thing, or I should be doing this thing. I won't, because I feel a certain way. And so then when it all comes back around, I'm like, yeah, no, I should listen to myself. I don't know if I can think of a specific thing or not. That was the hardest lesson.
No, that's good though. And actually,
there's probably been multiple, to be honest.
This is gonna actually be the final question, just to like make sure. So what would you say is something that is usually obvious to you that other people just seem to not see all the time? And then what would you say is something that's not obvious to you, but then it's like, how does everybody else keep on seeing this, but I miss it all the time, you know?
Ooh, that's hard. I think one thing, and this might not be with all people, but probably within like my, close friend group,
Mhm.
it's like they'll meet a new person or something and they'll like, I can't even put it into words. It's like I always get, and this is something I've like recently kind of learned about myself in the past couple weeks or maybe a couple months. Like it won't even be a thought, but it'll be a feeling about someone.
Mm.
Like they'll be like, oh yeah, like this person, blah, blah, blah. And like, we're gonna do this together. I'm like, I instantly get kind of cringy. I'm like, that doesn't sound like a good idea. Like you should not be making these big decisions with this person because they're either like, A, you just met them, B, they're flaky, C, like it just doesn't feel right. And so I'm kind of learning to speak up about that more because every time I'm fucking right. Like months, years down the road, like some shit hits the fan and I was like, I fucking knew it. Like, and I didn't say anything. Like, I don't think you should do this. And I can't even like, I don't even know what that thing is that it is that I notice about people. I think I notice people, I guess. I don't know how to explain that.
Huh.
It's weird. I don't know. I don't know if there is anything. Like I always have this feeling about someone. And then I'm always right. And I don't know what that feeling is until like it comes along. Until that thing happens and I'm like, I fucking knew it. I fucking knew you were sketchy, or like something doesn't feel right about this person, or I just like always know, like just meeting someone, like, oh, don't trust them with anything. Just by the way they speak or whatever.
Would that be it? Like people's motivations? Maybe?
Motivations, I think, like sometimes when I meet a person, I'm just like, oh, by the way they speak, I know you could not tell them anything because they'd go and tell the world. Or like you wouldn't be able to like really rely on them.
Gotcha.
And that's one thing I've learned. And I don't think a lot of people are able to do that. At least some like of my friends aren't able to do that. It's probably more common. Like I'm not saying I'm like super rare. I know like some people are sketchy. Because that's not it. I think it's just like within my friend group, like they're like, oh my gosh, this person's so great. I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't tell them shit. Like I've just met this person and I already got a bad vibe from them. Something that I never notice. I don't know because I don't notice it.
That's usually the hard one. That's usually the hard one. Okay.
Yeah, that is hard. Yeah, I'm sure there is something surrounding. Well, maybe it's. See, I'm gonna use John for an example because he notices everything, literally everything. He's like, you didn't see that? I'm like, no, I was fucking not paying attention. Like, I don't know. But then again, he's like kind of trained. That's like his job. So I don't know if that's just a hint. Yeah, it's heightened because of his job.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's
I'll have to think about that one and get back to you on it. I don't know.
No problem. Okay. So even if you think about it, I'd still would definitely like to know. But I do feel like I know what your type is.
Oh no, I'm nervous.
And this is gonna probably make things even more nervous. It sucks. I have to go pick up Jamila, and so
That's okay.
to explain everything, we'd have to come back. So therefore, we'll probably like finish this maybe tomorrow. I think I should have time tomorrow or even later tonight. I don't know. I'll keep you.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I have no life. I am here. So, yeah, like I said, it's no rush or anything. I'm just more curious. It's something fun to do. So
Yeah, for sure. And it's gonna be fun, like going through the notes and like explaining a lot of this to you.
I'm so curious.
Yeah. But do you want to know what the type is right now, and then I come back later and I break it all down for you, or should we keep it all wrapped up until I come back.
No, I want to know. I want to know. I want to.
Okay. So
Unless you don't want to tell me.
no.
That's okay.
I was gonna go with whatever you want. So I definitely think that you are an ESFP.
God damn it! I didn't want
Yeah. And I, like I said, I have like these are like literally so 1,
Oh goodness.
2, 3, and I was about to like even get to this page, but and I was trying to keep it like shorthanded too, but yeah, like a lot of what you're saying, it was like making sense. Like all I'll say is you're definitely not ENFP. I know that.
Ah, fucking A.
Yeah.
Tried. No, I'm just kidding.
I was actually at one point in between ESFP and ENFJ, and I was like, you like a Trump. Either way, I mean, you know, I'm not a therapist or anything, so I'm not. But I feel like the things that you've dealt with really have impacted a lot of the ways that your cognitive function show up. So it took a bit harder to like fish it through. But
yeah, I think that's why it was really hard for me, because I'm like, I see like I'm like a little bit of everything, it seems like, because I've had to develop this shit.
Exactly. Yeah. But now like listening through your whole entire story and then asking like, okay, but why did you do that? Which is where this is where type is. It's not like how you behave, but like, but why did you do that? And like, okay, did you always do this? How are you like when you were younger when you did this? Now this and boom, boom, boom. And like getting a full picture. Yeah, I think that you're ESFP. And we're definitely going to talk more about that. Also, for what it's worth, I think that you probably are sexual too. Maybe.
Oh, you think?
Maybe. Yeah.
Oh, was I right? Was I right and you were wrong?
I probably was. I could see self-preservation too, because one of the funny things was that Beatrice Chestnut, the woman who like not came up with the Enneagram, but like she wrote the Enneagram book and everything. She used to think that she was sexual too. And then the person who typed her said, well, one big thing that I can kind of already tell that you're self-preservation to is that you don't seem like you'd be able to stand up for yourself. So, and you said that, like, or that you would want to stand up for yourself. And you did say that. So
yeah,
maybe also it's maybe it's also because the self-preservation part of you, whether it's like second or first, I don't know, but it came out more because of your mother. So it's like, oh, you know what? Your mother like pulled more on your self-preservation and pushed down your sexual. I don't know.
Yeah.
That one.
I've always struggled with that too, because I'm like, I see both. Like, and again, it always depends on the situation. So I was never quite sure.
Yeah, and that would like be like a whole conversation in itself. But now that I could see sexual too more than I did before, you still could be self-preservation. But if you're self-preservation, you're definitely sexual second. And if you're sexual, self-preservation second. You're not social.
There's no social, and no, there's no social in there anywhere. Every time I've read about it, I'm like, ooh, no, like yuck.
Yeah.
Not like yuck, like it's bad. Like I love social people, but.
But okay, so yeah, we will definitely circle back to this, and I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I will keep you updated, and I'll text you. And when I get the chance, I'll also send this first part to you. Session. But yeah, this was fun. So talk to you later.
Yeah, this was fun. All right, sounds good.